Hey guys, what's going on? This is Adrian, and you're listening to the Stonerd/Nerdy Fusion podcast. If you're familiar with the podcast and you listened to the last episode, you probably know what I'm talking about, but more on that later. For now, let's jump into the episode breakdown. I will be talking to you guys about what I'm gonna do with the podcast moving forward, and then I'm gonna talk to you about the elevator girl. Something happened. Anyway, guys, let's jump into it. Well, guys, just like that guy that used to work for Verizon who used to say, "Can you hear me now?" We are also transitioning, not to Sprint or sexually, but we are changing the name of the podcast. The three of you have spoken, and I have heard the opinion of the masses. And by the masses, I still mean the three of you because nobody else listens to this. But I am planning on changing the name of the podcast. If you heard the last episode, you know that there's another company or person. After further investigation, I took a look at their page. It doesn't look like they've been working for a long time. And if I go on YouTube, there is a guy who has a channel named Stonerd, but he's a few episodes in, and I have a bunch more. Despite all that I just told you, I don't want to deal with the whole situation. I want a name that only I have. And unfortunately, that's really hard to do because you think you're being creative and unique, and it so happens that you're not. Have you ever been in a situation where you try to come up with a username or an email, and then you put it in, and then Google or Instagram, whoever, insert social media company here. Doesn't matter where you go, you think you're being unique and you say, I don't know, Chili Pepper 109. And then somebody has that name and you're like, what? How is that possible? That's the kind of name that only I would think of. But then it so happened that there are like not only someone with that exact name, but other people with variations of that name. So it's pretty hard to come up with something that nobody else has. But like I said, I don't want to deal with it. No matter how I go about it, I'm going to end up creating confusion and clashing with whoever has the name Stonerd. So I'm not going to use it anymore. But I am making a soft transition. I don't want to completely cut it out like right away. And yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And to that guy who's fucking using the name that I already picked, good luck. That's what I'm going to say. You thought I was going to go somewhere else with that, right? But I didn't. Although I'm being sarcastic, obviously. But I'm not going to sit here and spread all that negativity because I'm trying to be all about good vibes. And it's not worth my time to get aggravated over this other dude. I wouldn't be surprised if he's listening to this podcast right now because, hey, you gotta check what the competition is doing, right? But whatever. So Nerdy Fusion is gonna be the new name, which is good because the company I want to create is gonna be called Nerdy Fusion Media. And so having the podcast name Nerdy Fusion is actually gonna make things come together a little nicer. Also, somebody said something that I also agree with, that having the name Stoner kind of limits the amount of topics I can talk about because a lot of the time people will see the name of the podcast and think that this is all about weed when it really isn't. I like to talk about everything, not just one topic. I have a variety of interest, so changing the name could help me reach a bigger audience and also expand the topics I talk about. So that's it, guys. Now moving on from that, I want to tell you guys about my awkward encounter that I had a year or so ago. That's when I was in this building and I was about to get on the elevator and I pushed the button, got in the elevator, and then as the doors are closing, there is this beautiful girl approaching the elevator. And I was like, oh, damn, who the hell is this? She's beautiful. And so I tell her, going down? And then she says, yeah. And so I hold the door for her so that the elevator doesn't close and she comes in. Now, up to that point, it's looking smooth, but in reality, I wasn't smooth. As soon as she came in, I went quiet. I couldn't say anything, I froze. And so I'm like, yo, who is this? She kind of looks familiar, but I don't know if I know her. Do I know her? Anyway, the elevator is going down. We are both quiet. Nobody's saying a word. All of a sudden, she goes out and says bye. And I say bye. And she left, never to be seen again. And I'm like, who the fuck was that? Why did she say bye? Does she knows me? One may think she was interested, but to me, it didn't look that way. My first thought when I heard her say bye, it wasn't, oh, I'm interested, you should engage with me. It was more like, I know you and you don't know me. And I was like, do I know this woman? What's going on here? And I spent the entire afternoon thinking about who this person was. It was later on that week that it dawned on me that I do know that girl. And I was like, oh shoot, it was that girl. And then I started looking for her on social media, because that's what you do now. So I started looking for her. I remember her name, type it into Instagram, type it into Facebook. I have lost contact with her. I knew her way back, and I have forgotten how she looks like. And she looked a bit different too, because obviously people grow and age and all that stuff. So at first I didn't know who she was, but then I realized who she was. And I was like, wait a minute, do I have her on social? So I went on my social media, tried to find her, realized that I never got her social media. So I started like typing her name in, and then her name came up on Insta, and so I requested her. But nothing happened. It was the strangest thing. Maybe she's the kind of person who doesn't use social media that often. But nowadays, who doesn't use social media? I actually think it's weird when somebody doesn't use social media. Like, you can use it, and we all understand that social media is not always the healthiest thing to do, because you're always comparing yourself to somebody else, to the life they're living. Are they doing good? Are they doing bad? Maybe you shouldn't be looking at their page, but you are, because there's some sort of unresolved matter that you didn't get to fix, and now they are doing their thing and you're doing your thing, but you're still checking up on them. We all know what the situation is, so I don't need to explain it here. All I'm saying is that I found it weird that she didn't like add me back. In my head, I was thinking, is she angry that I didn't recognize her and that's why she's not adding me? Or is it that she doesn't use social media as much and so she hasn't seen my request? Well, so much time went by that I forgot about the whole thing. I just went about my life, doing my thing, right? I think a year and change went by. Then, a week ago, when I got a notification, and it was the girl. I was like, oh my God. She answered the request. But, things are different. It looks like she has a family and things, because people are doing things. I'm one of the few guys out of my high school group that just refuses to grow up. Oh man, I don't know. But everybody from my high school class seems to be doing something, either getting married or having kids. I'm the only one who just keeps pedaling, just endlessly pedaling through life, just trying to find my purpose, what I'm meant to do. I don't know. It seems like they have the answers, or maybe they're faking that they have the answers. Maybe they don't. Maybe they're doing the same thing I'm doing. I don't know. All I'm saying is that I'm taking a bit longer to get going. I'm a bit of a late bloomer, if you know what I mean. So I think that's where I'm going to leave it. I don't know. One could say that she was the one that got away, but it is what it is. Anyway, guys, that's all I have for you today. And I'll see you on the next one.